Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Armourer's Bench. It's been a while since we've done a book review, so I thought today we'd take a look at the brand new Vickers guide to SIG Sauer. This book includes pistols and submachine guns and some really interesting stuff. So let's dive right in and take a look what's inside. Okay, let's dive right in. So on the inside cover we've got a nice selection of P210s. And then we have our contributor list and our authors. So we have Leonardo Antares, Ian McCullum, James Rupley, and of course Larry Vickers. Contents page lays out all of the various pistols and submachine guns that the book covers quite nicely. A little author page and a preface by Larry Vickers. Introduction, and then we're into the pistols with what you probably wouldn't expect, a Mannlicher M1894 produced under license by SIG, or the forerunners of SIG. Then we have some pocket pistols, and then we are into Charles Petter's elegant Model 1935A, which is the forerunner of the P210 obviously. Nice disassembled photograph there. One of the things I really like about the book is each of the sections is sort of fronted by a general assembly engineering drawing of the pistol that the section's about. So in this case this is the brand new SIG P210 carry, which is a new carry version of the P210. I shot it last year and I thought it was a really promising pistol. So into the prototypes. We start off with a little blurb, so it gives us a little bit of background and historical context, and then we are into some really gorgeous photographs of the early prototypes for what was then known as the P44. So this is the P44-16, which was the double stack single feed version of the P210, which obviously when it was adopted had a single stack magazine, so it's really nice to see that, and it's a really nice angle to illustrate that too. As with all Vickers guides, the photos are really gorgeous, getting some of those angles that you just don't get in other books. So you've got this sort of like quarter view from the top, showing all the details on the top of the pistol. Really nice. Into the foreign contracts, so we've got Swedish and of course Danish military contracts. The M49, which is I think now being replaced by the SIG P320 X carry. So we're into the P49, the Swiss Army's selected pistol. Again, we have another little preface to the section explaining some of the features of the pistol and history behind it. Nice disassembled layout there, with the hammer assembly cassette taken out. Then we're into some of the later versions of the pistol, and then some of the Swiss variants, including 22 caliber conversions and some of the pistols used by Swiss border police, etc. This is one of my favourite pages. Everyone loves a cutaway, and this is a really gorgeous photograph of both sides of a cutaway P210. Really nice to see the cassette inside there for the hammer, and also the recoil spring and chamber cutouts there as well. It's really cool. Some of the target models. So now we're into the P75 or P220 section, the pistol that replaced the P210 in Swiss service. As with all the sections, it begins with a sort of little bit of background and historical context. And we move into some of the prototypes. Really interesting to see that the initial prototype for the P220 looked very much like its predecessor. Then we're into something a little bit different, as it becomes a little bit more like the P220 that we all know. And then we're into the P220 proper. Obviously adopted in 1975, so it's known as the P75. Still single stack. And then we get another one of these great cutaways. This one's heavily cut away, showing the breech in the magazine. And the decocker there. Late prototypes. Swiss border guard pistol. The Browning double action. And then we're into some of the offshoots of the P220, like the P221, the larger caliber version. And then we're moving into the P225. Got a nice couple of shots of the prototype for the P225 there. Nice to see some of the ephemera, like the manuals and the boxes too, included. Another nice cutaway, showing the sides and the internals of the P225. And then we're into the P226, so we're moving into the double stack pistols now. Really nice seeing some of the wear and tooling marks on these prototypes. It's so rare that you get to see sort of like an iterative development of a not just one pistol, but a series of them laid out in such like detail. Some more manuals and test target from the factory, pretty cool. And the P226 Navy, obviously used by the SEALs, complete with the little anchor there. Little section from Jack Carr, who was a SEAL. Some more commemorative models, the 25th anniversary, really nicely inlaid. And there's some specialty 226s. Very bling. Wow. That's a really nice photo collection of various different models from the P210 through to the P230 and the later P226s. Wow, that's really cool. Then we're into the P228. The electronic personal lock system. That was a big fad in the 90s, wow. Look at that, that's really cool. So it's built into the frame. And then we're into the more modern SIG pistols, the more recent ones, the P250. So we have a really nice sort of like cutaway, but they've utilised a translucent sort of polymer lower. Translucent polymer frame. So we can see some of the cutaways of the barrel and the action, but we can also see inside the actual pistol itself. It's really cool. So the P250 was obviously the predecessor to the current P320. commemorative 1 millionth P320 there. So you can see the insert trigger assembly. And then we're getting into the modular handgun system, the M17 section of the book, which gives a brief history of the program and the aims of the program. And then we get to see one of the pre-submission test guns, which is really cool. So all this beautiful wear on the pistol, that's really cool to see. Marked up XM17. Another pre-submission prototype. All flat dark earth controls. That's something that has changed since. This is really cool that they've included all of the major sort of entries into the program. There were a couple of others, of course, from Ruger and one or two others. So you've got the Glock, and you also have the FN America as well, their MHS prototype. Nice cutaway, the XM17. And then here's the M17 as delivered, so we've gone from FDE to black sort of individual controls. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers M17, so there's a daytime pistol, and then there's also a nighttime inclement weather pistol. That's really cool, I didn't know that. So of course the modular handgun system program was looking for two pistols, a long barrel version and a more compact version. So we have the M17 and the M18. And the M18's been adopted by the Marine Corps and the US Navy, amongst others. Cool to see some of the prototypes for that. One of the test guns with an unfinished slide. The M18's also being handed out as a general officer's pistol as well. Now we're coming into the P365, the new compact pistols, and of course its predecessor, the P230, the heavily Walther PPK inspired pistol. Really cool. And this one's really cool. This is one of my favourite parts of the book. It's an experimental subcompact pistol that was developed as an early prototype. It's really cool. I love how roughly tooled the prototype is. You can see how they've cut the polymer. Little flakes still. Really cool to see. And the P365 section has some really interesting prototypes, and also the iterative 3D printed sort of ergonomic models like this one. One of the beauties of 3D printing is it allows you to prototype rapidly, trying various iterations of grip shapes and frame, really revolutionising the way small arms are designed. And now we are into the submachine gun section. So this is a really interesting section, which has a little bit more than just the MPX that we can see here. So first up we have some of SIG's early Swiss submachine guns, including the Model 1930. Really nice to see these included. The MKMS, and then we have some of the variants, the police version. That looks like a really handy little carbine. Very cool. Little section from Ian McCullum of Forgotten Weapons, friend of the channel, on SIG's development of submachine guns. And then we are into some of the later variants, the MP40/1. And then perhaps most recognisable, the MP41. Some really lovely photographs, getting all the good angles, be able to see what the magazine well that folds into the fore end. MP44, and then the 310, which is the super compact, one of the last submachine guns developed by SIG before the company transitioned. Now this is another of my favourite sections. This is the MP320, and that is a submachine gun that was developed in the early 70s with a over-the-top cocking mechanism. Really nice sort of like futuristic design, very cool. Reminiscent of some of the HK prototypes made in the late 70s as well. Pretty cool that there's another 320 in SIG's history as well. Some really great photographs of this, so rarely seen as well. Nice close-up there of the SIG stamping. Safe, single, burst, full auto. Now of course we're into the MPX prototypes. So we have some of the early prototypes. I love just how rough some of the prototypes were. Just proving the concept. Known at the time as the SMG 12, and then we're into the Copperhead as well, which is the ultra compact version of the MPX. And that rounds out the book. At the back there is some acknowledgements and an index, some photo credits and a bibliography, and then we have a nice section of the rest of the pistols that SIG are known for. At the front we have the P210, and at the back we have P220, P225, 226, 320, etc.
So that's volume 1. I believe there's going to be a volume 2 looking at various rifles and machine guns that SIG and SIG Sauer have developed over the years. As with the other Vickers guidebooks, they are weighty but beautifully illustrated, and while they don't offer an in-depth level of detail, they give us a look at some of the developmental prototypes and rarer models which you wouldn't otherwise see documented. I love the photography and layout of these books. They show angles and detail that unless you're handling the weapons, you'd never really see.
Thanks for watching guys, more book reviews coming soon. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and if you'd like to support the channel you can do so via Patreon. There's a link to that at the end of the video. Thanks again for watching, see you next time.